All right, let's talk now. We've got with this Democratic strategist and CNN political commentator Maria Cardona, also with Justin Sayfie, a former top advisor to Jeb Bush. Good to have both of you here. And Maria, I want to start with you. A Biden advisor, a supporter, sent out an email to possible donors telling them that the vice president needed their support, quote, yesterday. So the calendar is forcing Biden to make a decision. Are we expecting that he's going to make it very soon? And what's the impact of this delay?
Well, in terms of the timing, I completely agree with Hillary. I think only Joe Biden can make the decision of whether to jump in. This is an incredibly compelling decision that he has to make with his family. But yes, the calendar and the clock are ticking. From what we are hearing from various reporting is that they could wait, the Biden campaign could wait as long as the end of October in terms of making a decision whether to jump in or not. My sense is that if they are going to wait, they're probably going to wait until after Hillary Clinton does her testimony at the Benghazi committee to see how that goes. There are various very high-level speeches to Democratic groups at the end of October as well. And so I think that they are really looking to figure out whether the vice president wants to do this or not. The letter that was sent out was certainly something that was smart to tell those who were getting worried in terms of timing that there is still time. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of this month, a lot of the windows close for filing purposes. I mean, a lot of this is pragmatic. But at the end of the day, the only person who can make this decision is Joe Biden. And from what I'm hearing, the people closest to him say that he actually hasn't decided yet. And so he's making all the right moves. He's having all the right conversations in order to be ready if he jumps in. But we don't know whether that's going to happen or not yet. Victor.
All right, Justin, let me come to you with something that Hillary Clinton said about Donald Trump. Do we have that soundbite? Let's play it.
I have called him out on some of the things that he has said, which I thought were uncalled for, some of the insults and the attacks that he's made on immigrants, on women, and it's just unacceptable what he, let be said about the president. So, I'm going to continue to criticize him for going beyond the bounds of what I think is appropriate for anybody running for president.
And in that narrative, what about this latest comment from Trump saying that, or at least pointing out that George W. Bush was president when 9/11 happened?
Well, look, Donald Trump is very unpredictable. He says a lot of things. I think Hillary Clinton's quote is really interesting, the dynamic between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. We know that Donald Trump financially supported Hillary Clinton's Senate campaigns. We know he wrote a big check to the Clinton Foundation. We know that Chelsea Clinton is good friends with his daughter, Ivanka Trump. So it's a really interesting dynamic. I'm struck a little bit to see Hillary Clinton criticizing her friend Donald Trump a little bit, but I know that she has to do it for political reasons. And with respect to Donald Trump blaming President Bush, that's not going to sit well with a lot of Republican voters. I think that a lot of Republican voters are not going to give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt on that, and that's actually going to hurt him with more Republican voters.
But Justin, the last fragment of your sentence is that he's not going to get a pass with Republican voters could have been applied to things he said about John McCain, to things he said about Megyn Kelly, to many of the other things he said. But he's been #1 at the top of these polls for 3 months now, essentially since he jumped in. And Jeb Bush has been in single digits trying to get a grasp. Why is that happening?
Sure. Well, look, you've got 10 candidates running. You got a poll with 10 candidates in it. And I think the Donald Trump has got maybe 20, 25%, 29%. 7 out of 10 Republicans do not support Donald Trump. Most of the overwhelming majority of Republicans don't support Donald Trump. So, yes, in a field with 10 or 11 or 15 candidates, he's #1. But let's see where he is. We saw what happened with Scott Walker, who was leading in the polls earlier this year. He's now out of the race. Donald Trump should be careful because the same fate could happen to him just as it happened to Scott Walker.
So, Maria, are Democrats preparing for a general election against Donald Trump? Does it seem more likely now that this is not just the summer of Trump, but this is Trump's cycle?
It definitely seems more likely, Victor. And I know that Republican strategists are just completely keeping themselves up at night with this thought. But there has never been a candidate in history that has been at the lead for so long with numbers that are so deep that has not gotten the nomination. Now, that doesn't mean that he will, but I really think that Republican strategists need to gird themselves for the very real possibility that Donald Trump is going to be their nominee. Now, Justin is right. You know, the majority of Republican voters right now don't support Donald Trump, but that also means that even more Republicans voters out there don't support Jeb Bush, don't support Marco Rubio, because as you mentioned, they are in the single digits. So what can we imagine Donald Trump saying or doing that he hasn't done or said up until now that would actually bring him down in the eyes of Republican voters? And Hillary Clinton, frankly, has been the only one that has been the adult in the room and has taken him to task for things that are utterly offensive to voters.
Well,
and I know Republicans squirm, but that's the truth.
It was quite interesting to see him walk away from MJ Lee, who asked him twice about his comments, and then he went to Twitter. We'll talk more about that throughout the show. Justin Sayfie, Maria Cardona, thank you both.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, Victor.
Christy.